A Canadian ice cream company faced some backlash for giving their fully vaccinated employees a raise. Anti-vaccine groups tried to boycott Chapman's ice cream over the decision. The company says it was meant to encourage staff to get their shots, but there is no mandate in place. About 85 of the company's 850 employees were not vaccinated, but can continue to work as long as they are tested twice a week. So we want to look at the implications of this, especially from an employment and employer and worker point of view. Employment lawyer Alex Lucifero joins us now to break it down. So Alex, first of all, I guess are employers permitted to offer an incentive like this with a raise to employees to get vaccinated?
Sure. Well, I think Chapman's objective here, Matt, was well intended and principled. What employers have to be careful about here is that a well-intentioned policy may actually have some ill-advised effects. And so, for example, a policy like this might run afoul of human rights legislation. An employee who, let's say, cannot be vaccinated, remains unvaccinated as of today, because of maybe a medical condition, is going to be impacted negatively by a policy like this and incentivizing or providing a raise to vaccinated employees. And that's a problem, Matt. That is discrimination. That's a violation of the Human Rights Code. Employers have to be aware of these things. They cannot just apply these policies as a blanket. There will have to be exemptions, in this case, particularly for medical reasons.
Okay, so we look at it. So the actual incentive was $1 an hour was the raise that employees were going to get. Other alternatives for you that maybe they, whether it's Chapman's or someone else, in order to encourage their employees to get vaccinated?
I think we've seen a few. We've certainly spoken to lots of employers and employees over the past several months with respect to these vaccination policies. We've seen some paid time off being provided as an incentive. We've seen some raffles and some draws. Again, employers have to be very careful here because, again, you cannot punish employees who cannot be vaccinated for medical reasons. Also, you have to be very careful about disclosing medical status of employees to others. And so, again, employers have to approach these things very, very cautiously.
Okay, and so we talk about those rights, too, for some unvaccinated employees who maybe have been penalized and not been able to take advantage of this. What rights do they have in a situation like this as recourse?
Well, certainly in the example I gave, which was, again, a medical exemption, again, there might be a human rights claim there. The employee, through no fault of their own, for medical reasons, is unable to get that raise. Again, I think employers should be respecting that and providing those employees as well with raises. We've seen problems as well with vaccination policies at large. So setting aside incentivizing employees for the moment, lots of employers, Matt, are imposing vaccination policies that are kind of very strict, perhaps too strict, and letting employees go for that reason. That is a risk for employers that potentially exposes them to significant liability. Those employees may very well be owed severance based on their age, their position, their years of service, and severance could be significant, Matt. It could be as much as 24 months of pay for long-term employees. And so, again, there is some exposure there on the part of employers.
Certainly an evolving conversation as we continue to dig through the different layers of this. Alex Lucifero, thank you for this, sir. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Matt.